Hey guys, I wanted to read the nonfiction text for this week. This is the title is called "Get Me Out of Here," and here is the title page, and here is the table of contents. This book is going to be all about oviparous animals, and this will tell you based off what pages is what information is going to be on each page. So let's go ahead and get started. Ovipar, what? When we hear the word egg, most of the time we think about chickens or breakfast. But I'm sure you also know that eggs are extremely important element or an extremely important element in life entering the world. Many animals, including all species of birds, lay eggs. These animals are referred to as oviparous animals. The animals will look different based on the kind of animal and where the egg will rest until it hatches. Some animals, like the ostrich, may only lay one large egg at a time and fuss over the egg until the young hatches. Other animals, like the alligator, can lay up to 90 eggs at once. Laying a large number of eggs is an adaptation that many animals have adapted. 80% of young alligators will end up as prey for hungry predators, and for this reason, a large number of eggs increases the chances of the hatchlings making it to adulthood. Birds. The egg-laying habits of a bird depend largely on how big he or she is and where it lives. For example, the rockhopper penguin builds its nest out of pebbles, but the male emperor penguin holds its egg on top of its feet to keep it from freezing on the ice. Most birds sit on their eggs to incubate them, including large birds like the swan. What does this tell you about the swan's eggshells? That's right, they must be strong enough to support the weight of the adult swan, which weighs about 30 pounds. Eggshells are also different colors. Many eggs are plain white, but eggs that are laid out in the open have markings to help them camouflage them. Just like humans, other animals love the taste of eggs, so they are always on the hunt for an unprotected nest. This has forced birds to adopt survival techniques, such as camouflage themselves and their young. When a hatchling is developing inside the egg, it uses the yolk as its source of food. The yolk is full of fat and protein. After they are hatched, birds will rely on their parents to bring them food. Unlike mammals, who will receive their mother's milk, birds will need their parents to hunt for them. The adult birds will eat the food themselves and then regurgitate it into the baby bird's mouth. Regurgitate means that they're going to chew up the food for the baby bird and they're going to put the food out of their beak into the baby bird's beak. Reptiles. Sea turtles have been on Earth for many years. This makes them a part of one of the oldest animal families that at one point included dinosaurs. Their long history of survival makes it surprising that they don't have much maternal instinct when it comes to their young. The female sea turtle emerges from the ocean in the middle of the night. She will dig a deep hole and lay up to 110 ping-pong-sized eggs. This group of eggs is called a clutch. She will cover the eggs with sand and then return to the ocean, never to meet her young. Like with many reptiles, the temperature of the nest determines the gender of the hatchlings. Cooler temperatures lead to male hatchlings and warmer temperatures generate females. As soon as the turtles hatch, they start digging out of the hole. The baby turtles will even wait right under the sand until it cools, knowing that cooler sand means it is nighttime, and there will be less predators between them and the ocean. Digging out of the hole can take up to a week. Once out of the hole, the babies scurry to the ocean. They are born with natural instincts that guide them towards the water. It is estimated that only 1 in 1,000 hatchlings will survive to adulthood. Amphibians. The word amphibian means two lives. These animals start their lives in water, breathing through gills, but they develop lungs and legs so they can live on land. All amphibians can breathe and absorb water through their skin. Another characteristic that most amphibians have in common is the 3 different stages of their lives. They start in eggs and then become larvae, eventually morphing into their adult form. Female frogs lay a clump of eggs in a puddle of shallow water. The slimy texture of the eggs is a defense that keeps other animals from being able to gobble them up. The eggs soak up water and become swollen. After 21 days, the embryo leaves the egg and quickly develops into a tadpole. Tadpoles look more like fish than frogs, but eventually they will develop arms and legs and lose their tails. Unlike tadpoles, frogs can leave the water. Large amounts of frogs increase the chances that at least a few will make it into adulthood. Fish. Fish are very uninvolved with their young. The mothers lay eggs in the water and the male fish fertilize the eggs. There are only a few kinds of fish, such as the bullhead, who stay around long enough to protect the eggs, or guppies after they are born. Because so many of the larvae will be eaten before they have a chance to hatch, many fish lay an extremely large amount of eggs. Female codfish produce up to 9 million eggs in a single year. Have you heard of the salmon run? This is a time of year when adult salmon leave the ocean and swim upstream through rivers. Grizzly bears and bald eagles have learned to be on the watch for these tasty fish as they migrate upstream. Although it can be dangerous for the fish, scientists say that they have a sense in their bodies that alerts them that they need to go back to their birthplace. Once they reach the river entrance, they use their sense of smell to find their exact hatching ground. They will lay their eggs and then die. Then the cycle will begin all over again. Arthropods. An arthropod is an animal that does not have a spine. Instead, it has an exoskeleton, a segmented body, and at least 6 jointed legs. 80% of all living animals on Earth are arthropods. There are over 1 million different species of arthropods. Some examples are spiders, lobsters, horseshoes, crabs, scorpions, insects, and shrimp. They are the most diverse animal group. Many people fear the distinct spider known as the tarantula, but they rarely bite unless they are defending their egg sac. Females lay anywhere between 50 to 2,000 eggs in the sac and then spend 6 to 8 weeks guarding it. Much like birds brood by sitting on eggs, the tarantula broods by turning her egg sac over and over. The spiderlings are on their own as soon as they hatch. Most young spiders will be eaten by predators such as birds, snakes, and weasels. Mammals. You may be surprised to see mammals making an appearance in this book at all, because the definition of a mammal includes giving birth to live babies. Or you may already know that there are 2 mammals that lay eggs, the platypus and the spiny anteater. The spiny anteater, also known as the echidna, can be found in Australia and New Guinea. Covered in hair and spines, these curious creatures look a lot like porcupines or hedgehogs. It has taken a long time for scientists to learn about this mammal because they prefer caves and holes underground to escape extreme temperatures. The echidna lays one soft but leathery egg in her pouch. After 10 days, the egg will hatch and the baby, known as a pugil, will be the size of a jelly bean. The pugil will stay in the pouch and drink its mother's milk for 2 to 3 months. These oviparous animals are all extremely different, but the one thing that they all have in common is just how utterly fascinating they are. Here is the glossary. Absorb means to take something and soak up a liquid, like a sponge. Adaptation means an adjustment or change made in order to survive. Emerges means to come out of something. When we were talking about the turtle emerges from the ocean, it's coming out of the ocean. Exoskeleton, the supportive covering on the outside of an animal such as an arthropod. Migrate, to pass from one region to another for feeding or breeding. Butterflies do this, birds do this. A bunch of animals migrate. Survival technique means they have skills or habits that help an animal survive. All right, guys, so as soon as you get done with this, you're going to go ahead and do your activity that follows this. I'll be giving this direction in class, so just make sure you understand what you're doing for that. All right, bye, guys.